That breaking news from the 7 investigators. A local judge accused of making racist and homophobic comments is vacating her position after being removed from her docket more than a year ago.
It's a story the 7 investigators first broke in September of 2024. 7 investigator Heather Catallo is here with what she has learned.
This has been a long process. You'll recall we revealed recordings of Judge Kathleen Ryan making some shocking statements. Judge Ryan has essentially been on paid leave for 15 months and once described herself in those recordings as untouchable.
And there's your first problem, guys. When somebody feels that they are untouchable, it means they feel that they are above the law and do not have to answer for their actions. And somebody in this position of power, that's a very dangerous thing. And it seems like this has been going on for some time, so I want to hear a little bit more about it, but this is already a dangerous sentiment.
The Judicial Tenure Commission has been investigating this for more than a year, but they did not take action against her. Her lawyer is confirming to me late today that she is retiring, and the vacancy for her position has already been posted by the governor's office for potential candidates to apply for an appointment to the bench.
I can honestly say that, okay, I'm not systemically racist, I'm a new racist.
I'd like to know what her thoughts on being a new racist include. Anytime racist is in the name, that's like saying I'm a new misogynist or a new misandrist or a new murderer or, any of those things. No, it is what it is, and it's already has a definition. So when people try to restructure what their biases are, their bigotry, things like that, and try to repackage it, it's ridiculous. And again, for somebody to be in this position of power, to feel like they're untouchable, and then to apparently these are the things that are being said on tape, and then being allowed to retire is quite ridiculous, and shame on the system, because this is a person that should probably be stripped of their pension, because we have no idea how many other cases her ideology has influenced behind closed doors or behind closed minds. So very scary, guys, very scary. Let's hear more of what she's got to say.
The 7 investigators were the first to reveal the recordings that Oakland County officials say prompted Judge Kathleen Ryan's removal from her docket in August of 2024.
Black. I'm so off at this Black Lives Matter, hashtag Me Too, all this. Oh my God, like, you.
And I know somebody is already thinking like, she shouldn't be stripped of that. Like, she earned it and she didn't say anything wrong. There you have it. I mean, really, there you have it. And those are things that as a sworn officer of the court, I'm sure that there's an ethical violation going along with that. So, you can just hear the disdain. You can hear like in how the Black Lives Matter, sort of thing. She's trying to put on a little blackface, if you will, in her voice and things like that. And she's even going after me too. So I'm not saying this is just a racial boundary she's crossing. She's just sick of people in general, I guess, that are trying to fight systemic oppressions, if you will. So I still think that, yes, this is somebody that should be at least stripped of some of their pay and let that money go back into some of these cases that probably are going to need to be reopened. There's probably some people listening and thinking, wait a minute, I went before that judge and I got a pretty heavy sentence or a pretty, heavy judgment. So this is the dangers.
On Wednesday, a judicial vacancy was posted on the State Bar website saying the former Oakland County Chief Probate Pro Tem Judge was vacating her position on the bench.
The Honorable Kathleen A. Ryan presiding.
Good morning. You may be seated.
Ryan was a probate judge for 13 years until the Oakland County Probate Court administrator filed a complaint against her, alleging Ryan had been harassing him, calling him after hours for years, and making racist and other inappropriate comments.
13 years is a long time. That's a lot of cases, and that's a lot to look back upon. And I'm sure that this isn't something like a hit on the head where, it just changed her thoughts drastically. This is probably something that's come over the course of time. 13 years is a long time on any job. Now, I could see where, and I'm not saying I excuse it or it exonerates her, but I could see where somebody has probably an eroded empathy once you go before people or you have people come before you year after year, and you see lying, you see crime, you see the worst society has to offer. But at the same time, it doesn't mean you become the worst that society has to offer in return, especially when you're in a position of power and sworn judicial duty. So if nothing else, boy, there's some harassment because this guy clearly wasn't happy. And I can't imagine that this is any different on the scale of communication outside of the job with content that he was not welcoming. This is no different than somebody sending body part pics to a coworker, something that was unwarranted, unwelcomed, and made them feel uncomfortable. So if nothing else, maybe this guy is going to get some sort of a payout because he was clearly put in a position to have to deal with her and tolerate her bigotry.
I've never met anybody that enjoys hurting people and brags about it the way she does, or intimidating people, scaring people.
Hutton says his complaint was not acted on for months, so he then sent the recordings of his calls with Judge Ryan to state and county officials.
I just want to make it right, and I want the people in Oakland County that come to court to get a fair shake, to have their day in court, to have an unbiased trier of fact.
If you're black from any other country, you're doing way better. If you're an American black person, then you're a lazy piece of.
This guy's not wrong. She's an absolute animal in a gown with a gavel and has been ruling over people for 13 years, at least in this position. So, yeah, I don't know how she was allowed to step down from her position. I think she should have been fired. I know they said they removed, but now she's under paid administrative leave or whatever they're calling it. No. This is where if I was fired from a job for behaving in something similar, parallel to how she's behaving, I wouldn't be getting any sort of payments. There would be no payments for me to, get to the next job or allowed to peaceably retire. No. And you could hear it in her voice when she was going after the black community. So lazy people. Let's take a look at this. So from 1960 up to 2024, let's just go over incomes per year. Let's see. It starts with Asian men at about 93,000. Then next is Asian women at 76,000. And then we have, let's see, white men at 69,000. White non-Hispanic women at 61,000. And then you have white women at 58,000. Then you have black men at 54,000. Black women at 51,000. Those aren't lazy. That's not lazy. Let's see. You have Hispanic men at 51. And let's see. Hispanic women at 45. So with the exception of Hispanic women, everybody's over 50,000. I understand in this day and age that those aren't high dollar amounts like when you get towards the bottom, but we've seen people making 100,000 and more. We've seen people making millions and they still manage to go broke. Why? Because it's called living within your means. And that's what this comes down to. So I'm not looking at somebody making $50,000, even 45. That just says they're hardworking people and they're going to their job every day and trying to make the best of the circumstance that they can. And this lady is privileged to have been educated at a higher level. And possibly just born into some form of privilege, whether she knew it or not. I'm not saying it's from her family or anything else, but society gives us certain roles and they give us certain privileges and certain crosses to bear. But she shouldn't be allowed to just retire. I think that there should be definitely some investigation, more investigation behind her, and hopefully this guy is able to really make a difference, because to his point, he turned this information in and nobody did anything for months. So I feel like they were just going to try to hope that it just went away, or that the judge would get wind of it and she would bury it or something else. But no, this is a failing on the system's part. And it's probably not the first time. I'm sure it's not the first time. So terrible. It's terrible. And I hope this guy is protected. I hope this guy ends up getting some sort of raise and he is not knocked down and labeled as a boat rocker, troublemaker, whistleblower, all of those things. It's part of that whole snitch culture that we need to get away from, because this was important for people to know. And there's probably some people who have suffered at the hands of this judge when it was needless.
Judge Ryan has been paid for the last 15 months while she was out of the courthouse, and taxpayers have been footing the bill for visiting judges to handle her docket. Now her lawyers say she is retiring and leaving the bench.
Judicial Tenure Commission investigations are not public unless they reach the point of the JTC filing formal charges. Again, that did not happen in this case, so the results of that will not be made public. Now, meanwhile, I did speak with one of Judge Ryan's colleagues, Judge Daniel A. O'Brien. He said Judge Ryan was a good judge, and he expressed frustration that the court was left with visiting judges for so long while the JTC investigated, saying that really left a lot of cases not having continuity. So at least there's some resolution. She's retiring.
At least, and I'm sure a lot of people who have been in front of her are going back in their memories and going, wow.
Did I get a fair shake? Yeah. All right. Thank you, Heather.
You're welcome.
And there you have it. It sounds like nothing's going to happen because whatever that was, the JTC didn't seem to want to file charges against her for this. They're just allowing her to step down. And I would expect that to some extent because they're protecting their own. And just like with that other judge stepping in and saying, you know, she was a good judge, things like that, you're not. You're just not. Maybe she was a competent judge. She knew how to do her job, but you're not a good judge if you have that sort of thing where you cannot be fair and impartial. Now, it would be nice to know if this ideology had actually spilled into some actual court cases, but I can't imagine how it couldn't. Who she is just who she is. What she did as a judge was her job, but who you are when you take your uniform or your gown or whatever off at the end of the day, that's who you are, and you take that person in and put the uniform over it. So that's still in you. I don't believe that she was able to put those things aside, not based off of just the little snippets that we heard as her disdain towards certain groups of people. And the fact that she was in Detroit and just really had no thoughts of being less than just absolutely angry with black people, American blacks specifically, which would be interesting. Like, how would she know if somebody came into her court who was black and came from another country? And would she have ruled differently on their behalf because they weren't American black? So lots of questions. I don't know if any of it will ever be answered. And it sounds like, here we go, somebody else, kind of just gets to get away. So it's unfortunate, but she's not the only judge. There was the judge years ago who I believe was sentenced. And this judge was actually just sentencing people to jail, or I believe juvenile facilities, and he was getting kickbacks from the facilities because he was providing them inmates or people to occupants, I guess would be the word, occupants. And so they were getting money, and so they were giving him kickbacks, and he got caught, went to prison. But these aren't, I'm not going to say all judges because it's not fair. It's like saying all black people or all women or all groups. It's not about an absolute. But the ones who do get caught, boy, it would really, I think, go well with a lot of people across the board. Because if you're paying taxes, you heard it, taxpayers' money went into kind of funding, bringing other judges in. So there's a loss of resources. This should be recouped from this person's pension or from this person's salary, or at least a portion of it. But it sounds like it's not going to happen, and that's going to be unfortunate moving forward, because this is the ongoing distrust that the public often has with the government, with the police, with judges, things like that, authority. And I don't think that it's so far out of bounds that people are just trying to start revolutions or just push back. I think they've seen enough in their time, and people tire of it. So unfortunately, this happened, but at least she didn't get any more time on the job doing it. So hopefully that 14th year, 15th year, 16th year are going to give somebody else a fair shake in court. That's my hopes for this. But I'm going to leave it at that. Guys, what are your thoughts on this? What is your ace up the sleeve advice, comment, experience? Leave it in the chat. Would love to hear what you guys think. I haven't done a reaction for a while, but I'll get back to it. I thought that this was worth speaking to. And but yeah, again, would love to hear what you guys think about it. So let me know your thoughts, and I will see you soon. I hope this finds everybody in your place. Pursuit or beginnings of total health, mind, body, and soul. Peace, love, unity, solidarity, and as always, subscriptions and videos. So stick around.
At least, and I'm sure a lot of people who have been in front of her are going back in their memories and going, wow.
Did I get a fair shake? Yeah.